10 mistakes you should never make when taking pre-workout. Pre-workout has become the favorite fuel of those seeking more strength, focus, and energy at the gym. And with the accelerated growth of the fitness industry, it has been gaining more and more space on shelves and in the workouts of beginners and veterans alike. However, this same supplement industry, which exclusively aims at profit, saying that if you don't use all possible supplements, you will have less efficient workouts, often doesn't warn about the risks of this supplement, which, if used incorrectly, can hinder your performance more than help, harm your health, and even addict your nervous system. That's why today you'll see the 10 common and dangerous mistakes people make when taking pre-workout that you should never make. Before we begin, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. Mistake number 1, taking it at night. One of the most serious mistakes many people make is taking pre-workout at night, especially after 5 p.m. The issue here isn't just about the discomfort of not sleeping, but about an entire physiological imbalance that can compromise your gains in the long run. Most pre-workouts contain high doses of caffeine, ranging from 150 to 400 milligrams per serving. To give you an idea, a cup of espresso coffee has about 80 milligrams. This means you could be consuming the equivalent of 5 coffees at once. Caffeine has a half-life of approximately 5 to 6 hours in the body, which means that even after that time, half of the substance still remains active in your body. By taking pre-workout at night, you directly impair your sleep quality, even if you eventually manage to fall asleep. Studies show that caffeine ingested up to 6 hours before bedtime significantly reduces total sleep time and sleep efficiency. You might think you're sleeping normally, but the quality of your REM sleep and deep sleep will be compromised. The problem goes beyond simple nighttime discomfort. Quality sleep is absolutely essential for muscle recovery. It's during deep sleep that your body releases the greatest amount of growth hormone, fundamental for muscle repair and growth. Interrupting this process means your muscles don't recover properly between workouts, creating a negative cycle. You take pre-workout to train more intensely, but end up impairing the recovery that would make the next workout productive. Mistake number 2, not drinking enough water. A surprisingly common and potentially dangerous mistake is taking pre-workout without adequately hydrating before, during, and after training. Many people focus so much on the energy boost that they forget most ingredients in pre-workouts are highly diuretic, meaning they increase urine production and accelerate dehydration. Caffeine, the star ingredient in most pre-workouts, is a natural diuretic. It inhibits the action of the antidiuretic hormone, responsible for conserving water in the kidneys. As a result, you urinate more frequently and lose more fluids. Other common ingredients like green tea extracts, citrulline, and even beta-alanine can intensify this effect. What many don't realize is that even mild dehydration, just 2% of body weight, is enough to significantly reduce your performance. Your strength, endurance, and recovery capacity between sets drop dramatically. And you know what's worse? When you're dehydrated, your body can't properly regulate temperature, increasing the risk of muscle cramps during your workout. Cramps aren't just painful, but can force you to completely interrupt your workout. They occur mainly because dehydration causes an electrolyte imbalance, affecting normal muscle contraction. Magnesium, potassium, and sodium, essential electrolytes for neuromuscular function, are lost along with sweat and urine. Mistake number 3, believing it solves lack of sleep. One of the most dangerous and counterproductive mistakes many make is believing that pre-workout can compensate for a poor night's sleep or a chronic pattern of sleep deprivation. This, "I can sleep poorly but pre-workout will save me" mentality is not only false but can seriously harm your gains and your health in the long run. Sleep is absolutely irreplaceable for muscle recovery, hormonal regulation, and cognitive performance. When you sleep less than 7 to 8 hours per night, your body enters a state of recovery deficit. Your testosterone levels drop significantly, while cortisol levels increase. This hormonal combination creates a catabolic environment where the body has difficulty building muscle mass and tends to preserve fat. Pre-workout, with its stimulants, only temporarily masks the symptoms of sleep deprivation. Caffeine and other stimulants block adenosine receptors in the brain, a substance that normally signals tiredness. But this doesn't mean your body isn't tired. You just aren't feeling the fatigue momentarily. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will help you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Mistake number 4. Using it as a substitute for food. An alarming mistake that I frequently observe, especially among beginners, is using pre-workout as a substitute for an adequate meal before training. Many people wake up, take only pre-workout, and go straight to the gym, believing that the stimulants in the supplement will be enough to ensure a good workout. This practice not only compromises your performance during training, but can also be dangerous for your health. Pre-workout was developed to be a complement to your diet, never a substitute. It doesn't contain the macronutrients necessary to provide sustainable energy during exercise. Taking pre-workout on an empty stomach dramatically increases the risk of nausea and gastrointestinal discomfort. Stimulants like caffeine and yohimbine, when consumed without food, directly irritate the stomach lining, potentially causing nausea, heartburn, and even vomiting during your workout. Additionally, the acidity of an empty stomach enhances the effects of stimulants, potentially causing sharp peaks and drops in energy. One of the most serious problems is hypoglycemia during training. When you train without having consumed adequate carbohydrates, your body quickly depletes its muscle and liver glycogen reserves. The stimulants in pre-workout may temporarily mask this lack of energy, but when the effect begins to wear off, you may experience dizziness, sudden weakness, blurred vision, and even fainting. Mistake number 5. Taking it every day, even without real need. An extremely common mistake is the daily and indiscriminate use of pre-workout, as if it were a mandatory ritual before any exercise session. Many people simply can no longer imagine a workout without first consuming their dose of stimulants, creating a psychological dependency that can compromise long-term results. The inconvenient truth that the supplement industry doesn't want you to know is that for most training sessions, you simply don't need pre-workout. If you've slept well, are well-fed and hydrated, your body already has all the necessary resources to perform an excellent workout. Pre-workout should be reserved for specific days, such as particularly intense sessions, personal record attempts, or when you're genuinely low on energy. Daily use of pre-workout quickly leads to tolerance to its active ingredients. Caffeine, for example, significantly loses its effectiveness with continuous use. Studies show that after just 7 to 12 days of regular consumption, your body develops tolerance to the ergogenic effects of caffeine, requiring increasingly larger doses to achieve the same result. This creates a dangerous cycle where you constantly need to increase the dose or switch to products with higher concentrations. Prolonged daily use of stimulants can lead to adrenal fatigue, a condition where the adrenal glands become overwhelmed by the constant need to respond to chemical stress. Symptoms include chronic fatigue, difficulty recovering between workouts, and even abdominal fat gain due to cortisol dysregulation. Mistake number 6. Taking pre-workout being an anxious person. A potentially serious mistake that is rarely discussed is the consumption of pre-workout by people with a predisposition to anxiety or a history of anxiety disorders. This is a particularly relevant problem considering that approximately 20% of the population suffers from some degree of anxiety, but the supplement industry rarely offers specific warnings for this audience. People with a history of anxiety, insomnia, palpitations, irritability, or panic attacks should exercise extreme caution with pre-workouts, especially those with high doses of caffeine and stimulants like yohimbine or synephrine. These ingredients directly affect the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for the body's fight or flight response. The consequences can go far beyond temporary discomfort. Increased anxiety and mental agitation can make it impossible to maintain focus during training. Instead of improving concentration, as promised on the labels, stimulants can create a state of hypervigilance and accelerated thoughts that compromise the mind-muscle connection essential for efficient training. The sensation of a racing heart is especially problematic. Many people with a predisposition to anxiety interpret the tachycardia induced by pre-workout as the beginning of a heart attack or panic attack, creating a cycle of fear that can quickly escalate. This phenomenon, known as sensitivity anxiety, where the person fears their own bodily sensations, is particularly exacerbated by stimulants. In more severe cases, pre-workout can trigger complete panic attacks in predisposed individuals, characterized by intense fear, depersonalization, and a feeling of loss of control. Such an experience can create an aversion to the training environment, impairing adherence to physical exercise in the long term. Mistake number 7. Ignoring the composition. One of the most common and potentially dangerous mistakes is consuming any pre-workout without carefully analyzing its composition. Many people choose products based solely on influencer recommendations or aggressive marketing, without understanding what they're really putting into their bodies. This negligence can lead to consequences ranging from ineffectiveness to serious health risks. The supplement industry is weakly regulated compared to the pharmaceutical industry. This means many products may contain questionable ingredients, inadequate dosages, or even undeclared substances. Cases of pre-workouts containing prohibited stimulants or those not approved for human consumption are not uncommon, as has been documented in various regulatory agency alerts. Beta-alanine, present in most pre-workouts, causes that tingling sensation on the skin. Although this side effect is harmless, many manufacturers add excessive doses just to create a strong sensation that consumers erroneously associate with potency, when in fact doses between 1.6 to 3.2 grams daily would be sufficient for real benefits. Another common problem is hidden sugars. Many pre-workouts contain artificial sweeteners or rapidly absorbing carbohydrates in significant quantities under names like Energy Matrix or Carbohydrate Blend. For someone who is on a diet or controlling insulin, these added sugars can compromise results. Mistake number 8. Mixing with other stimulants. A particularly dangerous but surprisingly common mistake is combining pre-workout with other sources of stimulants, such as coffee, energy drinks, strong teas, or thermogenics. This practice, which often occurs due to lack of knowledge or the pursuit of an even greater boost, can have serious consequences for cardiovascular health and the nervous system. Caffeine, present in most pre-workouts in already high doses, is also the main active component in coffee, black tea, energy drinks, and thermogenics. When you combine these sources, you can easily exceed the daily dose of caffeine considered safe, which is approximately 400 milligrams for healthy adults according to the FDA and other health organizations. This overdose of stimulants has immediate effects on the cardiovascular system. Studies show that high doses of caffeine significantly increase blood pressure and heart rate, potentially raising systolic pressure by 8 to 10 millimeters of mercury and diastolic by 4 to 7 millimeters of mercury. For people with a predisposition to hypertension or heart problems, this increase can represent a significant risk. The effects of combining stimulants go beyond the cardiovascular system. Stimulant-induced anxiety is dose-dependent, and the combination of multiple sources can easily trigger symptoms of severe anxiety even in people with no history of anxiety disorders. These include restlessness, irritability, difficulty concentrating, a feeling of imminent danger, and even panic attacks. Mistake number 9. Not considering interaction with medications. A potentially serious and frequently neglected mistake is consuming pre-workout without considering its possible interactions with continuous or occasional use medications. This practice can not only reduce the effectiveness of medications, but also enhance side effects or create dangerous combinations for health. Modern pre-workouts contain dozens of active ingredients that can interact with medications in various ways. Caffeine and other stimulants, central components of most pre-workouts, are particularly problematic when combined with certain medications. Antidepressants, especially monoamine oxidase inhibitors and some selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, can have serious interactions with stimulants. The combination can increase the risk of serotonin syndrome, a potentially fatal condition characterized by agitation, mental confusion, increased heart rate, and elevated blood pressure. Even more common antidepressants like fluoxetine, sertraline, and escitalopram can have their side effects potentiated by pre-workout stimulants. Blood pressure medications are particularly incompatible with pre-workouts. While the medications work to reduce pressure, stimulants do exactly the opposite, potentially nullifying the therapeutic effect and putting the patient at risk. This pharmacological battle in the body can lead to dangerous spikes in blood pressure or sudden drops, depending on which substance predominates at the moment. Even seemingly harmless medications like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs can have problematic interactions. The combination with caffeine and other stimulants can increase the risk of adverse gastrointestinal effects and potentially raise blood pressure even further. Mistake number 10. Overdosing thinking it will improve performance. An extremely common mistake, especially among people seeking quick results or veterans who have developed tolerance, is deliberately increasing the recommended dose of pre-workout believing that more is better. This mentality is not only misguided from a scientific standpoint, but potentially dangerous to health. The inconvenient truth that many manufacturers don't disclose is that there is a dose-response curve for virtually all active ingredients in pre-workouts. This means that, after a certain point, increasing the dose not only fails to bring additional benefits, but begins to generate progressively more serious negative effects. Tachycardia is one of the first signs of overdose. Excessively elevated heart rates during exercise don't mean better performance, but rather an inefficiently working heart. Studies show that exceeding 85 to 90% of maximum heart rate for prolonged periods during strength training can significantly reduce the ability to generate muscle power and excessively prolong recovery time between sets. Nausea and gastrointestinal discomfort are extremely common side effects of pre-workout overdose. Ingredients like caffeine, beta-alanine, and citrulline in high doses can severely irritate the stomach lining, causing everything from mild discomfort to vomiting during exercise. A study with strength athletes showed that 38% of those using increased doses of pre-workout reported gastrointestinal problems that impaired performance. Now that you know the 10 most serious mistakes when using pre-workout, here's my personal opinion on this supplement. My personal opinion on pre-workouts. The naked truth is that most pre-workouts available on the market are nothing more than disguised caffeine, mixed with a series of secondary ingredients in often insufficient doses, all to justify an absurdly inflated price. You're essentially paying for an extremely expensive coffee, packaged in a colorful container with an aggressive label. The fitness industry has created enormous pressure for everyone to feel they need this supplement. Social media is full of influencers showing their pre-workout ritual, as if it were impossible to have a productive workout without that miracle powder. This is a brilliant marketing strategy, but scientifically dishonest. Don't feel pressured by the fitness industry that will say everyone takes it and that if you don't take it, you won't get results. This is a fallacy designed to extract money from your pocket. Many of the world's greatest athletes rarely use pre-workout, focusing instead on the quality of their natural preparation. As we always emphasize here on the channel, there are much better supplements for you to invest your money in. Creatine, for example, is a supplement with efficacy proven by decades of solid scientific research, and that cannot be fully obtained through diet in effective amounts. 5 grams daily cost a fraction of the price of a pre-workout and bring consistent and measurable benefits. Vitamin D is another example of a supplement that really makes sense for you who spend a lot of time indoors in an office and don't have time to get adequate sun. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with reduced strength, impaired recovery, and even suboptimal hormone levels. In the end, the decision is yours. But before spending your hard-earned money on yet another container of pre-workout, ask yourself, am I just giving in to marketing pressure instead of making a choice based on solid scientific evidence? If you like this, and also want to discover the most common mistakes people make when taking creatine that unfortunately end up throwing the best supplement on the market in the trash, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing each of them better. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.